welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
On smoke, it's all about the cash flow. So come on and get this money, man. Getting paper and we always do it major on the road, you know it.
Hello, welcome in. We got a special edition of Game Winning Drive here today. Our host Drew Trammell is unfortunately not going to make it, as well as Alex Kroget's going to be having a baby here momentarily. So good luck to him and his family. And so it's just going to be me, my boy Brant Meeks. Tune on in. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. We're going to get right into this because, frankly, we don't know what we're doing here, and we're just going to have a good time. We hope you're here to join us with it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's going to be a good one. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Now let's hit it with first down, quick hits. All right, the summer has ended. Aaron Rodgers is officially in Green Bay. Who would have thunk? The big question here, Brant, is did mission accomplished? Did he get what he wanted? Like, what do we take from this? What are we thinking here when it comes to Aaron Rodgers?
I'm thinking it's going to be a short-term solution, at least for the Green Bay Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers still plans on getting out. I think that's going to be the long-term goal. But for this season, everybody is happy because at least he's coming back. He's going to get Davante Adams back. Hopefully, I think a big key for the future is Davante Adams signs. Because I think he's going to wait to figure out what Aaron Rodgers does because he doesn't want to get stuck with Jordan Love. I don't think anybody does. So I think he's going to wait, sort of figure out what's going to happen. I think there's a really good chance that Aaron Rodgers could leave next year. But I love the honesty from Aaron Rodgers during his press conferences too. He's not towing that company line, and I'm sure that's something you can appreciate.
Totally. Here's my thing with Aaron Rodgers. I respect everything he said. He kind of came off like a bitch. I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Like, you don't see it in sports. You don't see a guy basically in front of everybody, millions of people ready to hear that presser. Everybody wanted to see what he had to say because, frankly, it's the first time he actually spoke. And he came off just saying, well, we mistreated this guy. We mistreated this guy. Bam, bam, bam. Like, okay, well, who are you talking about, Aaron? And then he goes off and says all the names. And it's like, you know what? Thank God you're not the GM because if we would have re-signed all those names, we'd be in a much shittier position, frankly. Like the Jordy Nelson call. It's like, well, if Jordy was playing with me, he would be better off. You're like, well, yeah, I mean, of course, you're the best quarterback in the league, but frankly, he went to Oakland and the game is past him, and that's kind of what happens. So I understand that he wanted his boys to be there. He wanted people surrounding with him that he's comfortable with. Now, let's be real. He's probably the smartest guy in the league. And actually, in fact, based on testing, he is the smartest guy in the league. Mm-hmm. Did he make the right decision by coming back? Yeah. You know why? Because it was more financial, in my opinion, than he really leads it to believe. There was a lot of money that he left on the table there. Now, they apparently threw a giant contract at him. He didn't sign it. He actually took a year off of this contract here, so he does plan on leaving. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's very interesting to see what happens from here on out. I genuinely think that this year it's a lame duck year. You're going to get a lame duck quarterback. Do you think this guy's going to put his neck out there when it comes down to 3rd and 9 and he's running down and he has a yard left to get? Is he going to run out of bounds or is he going to dive and get that first down? You got a quarterback that's not going to do that. And Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to not get hurt. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's an ugly situation. It didn't turn out too bad in the sense of we loved all the drama as sports fans. But his comments to me, dude, I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, you sound like an angry old housewife that's like, well, I didn't get my way, so I'm going to do this. And, To all the housewives out there, no offense, didn't mean anything by it.
See, now the one thing that is going to really interest me about this is how much play is Jordan Love going to get this year? If they're up by 10, 20 points in the fourth quarter, are they going to try to appease Rodgers and leave him in there and hope he signs something next year, or are they going to get Love in there and let him start to get some feet under him? It's going to be a interesting chess match all year, sort of like how you said, like with Rodgers dictating, is he going to run for that first down? It's going to be the big key this year is how is everybody going to do this? Is he going to go full out and, or is he going to do the Cam Newton? Yeah, I'm not going to jump on that fumble. And same thing with the Packers. Are they going to go all in on Aaron Rodgers and hopes he signs something long-term, or are they going to start putting their eggs into the Jordan Love basket?
It's good. It's to be seen. We're actually, and I just looked at it. Think about it. We're 36 days out from kickoff. That's crazy to me. Crazy exciting as well. So that's to be seen when it comes to the future of Aaron Rodgers. All right.
There's football tomorrow night. There's football tomorrow night.
I literally forgot about that part. All right. The injury bug has officially hit the Colts in many different aspects, but the one big one that we're all talking about is Carson Wentz.
Not Quentin Nelson?
Real. Say again?
Said not Quentin Nelson? Nelson?
No. Well, no, don't get me wrong. That is a huge step on the throat, but just what we've gone through with the whole Carson Wentz story, and now here we are again, and he gets hurt, and 5 to 12 weeks, by the way, come on, let's be real. Like, we got to have a better timestamp to that. It's not going to be 5 weeks. There's no doubt about it. I think the 5 weeks is put out there so that way I don't know what they're –
Quentin Nelson could be back in 5 weeks. Carson's going to be the 12. Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. And the reality is, like, what are you worried about, like, week one when you step up to the line? You don't want them to have to game plan for not, like, for not Carson Wentz. So it's like, oh, we're going to leave it out there just in case he is there. The reality is that he won't be there week one. He might not be there till week 7. Like, that's crazy. It's really sad. You feel bad for a guy like Carson Wentz. He's worked really hard. Can you imagine if they sign Nick Foles? Can you imagine it? He'll never play football again. We might not have a Carson Wentz on this earth if they sign Nick Foles. And he's already talked about it on Twitter. He's already popped off about it. He's running third string over there right now. Justin Fields is the guy. Like, he is showing up, and it's camp. They just put on pads, so it really means nothing. But at the end of the day, like, that head coach with the Bears needs to have a fan base that is a fan of what's going on. And I genuinely think Nick Foles gets cut, and he might be a Colt. What do you think?
I dedefinitely see. They could possibly even try to get him like a conditional 7th for him. I don't see them being happy going into the season with just Jacob Eason and Sam Ehlinger as the main guys. But yeah, that's not a happy. They could also possibly look at bringing back Brissett. You've got a couple different guys that have some experience in this system, but I think the biggest winner in this is me, because I made a prediction that was a little outlandish in one of our first episodes where I talked about the Jaguars and their abilities right there this year to win something and have a better record than the Colts. This helps me out immensely. This helps me out so much because they've arguably lost their best player in Quentin Nelson, and now they're getting hit with Carson Wentz. Like, these are feet injuries. You talk about Quentin Nelson's a big dude, needs his feet. He's an agile run blocker. And then Carson Wentz, Mr. Glass. That was the gif you sent as soon as it broke. No pun intended.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
No, it's a shame that. And I think they said this was an injury that he suffered back in high school that's now flaring up, but it hasn't been an issue. It might have been an issue the last couple of years. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of excuses are being made for Carson Wentz. I think the Colts are going to lean heavily on Jonathan Taylor the first few weeks of the season. There's going to be a lot of 8-9-man boxes, and it's going to be dependent on them running the ball and hitting the splash play. I think they're going to really struggle to begin the season. If they don't have some of their best players, specifically Wentz and Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It's tough. I like Carson Wentz. I genuinely don't think he's an amazing quarterback. I think it was kind of a fluke the year that he was on an MVP race. When we go back and look at the numbers, he really wasn't. But he's a good guy. You mean well for him. But the reality is, you brought it up. He's had the same injury from high school, college, and now the NFL. How did we not? Rosen's obviously out of this whole entire conversation now. He's he couldn't be happier with what happened. Not to celebrate an injury, but the reality is he made a good decision getting rid of what he did. But these guys, man, in the NFL, if they get hurt once, it's going to continue to happen. That's just the reality, especially if it's the same injury. They're on their feet all day long. I don't know. It's tough. If you're a Colt fan, I apologize. If you're a fantasy football fan, Jonathan Taylor is going to get a lot of volume. Maybe good, maybe bad. We don't know. We were praying for volume last year, and we got it at the end of the year, and he looked amazing. And then now you're missing your center, no quarterback. They're going to stack the box. It's going to be interesting.
So, question for you with the Colts: how do you see Marlon Mack getting himself into the rotation with Jonathan Taylor?
That's the tough part. He can. He's still very talented. We're going to see how he looks coming off of that injury. Obviously, that injury was a big deal and gave Jonathan Taylor the red carpet he needed to get his run going. But you still have Nyheim Hines, who's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. Marlon Mack, he's kind of just a change of pace if Jonathan Taylor needs a break kind of guy. So I see him as a pace of play if only needed. Reality is Jonathan's the guy. He's going to be there. He's going to be the main guy. I think Marlon might get some touches. If it was an over-under on 7, I'd probably hit the under every time, frankly.
All right.
But that's just me. All right, playoff talk. Who is going to miss this year that made it last year, and who's going to make it that missed it? I'll go off. I'll lead off here. Genuine now. Here's my Homer response. Chargers are going to make it. Now here's the thing. I have a backup because that's just everybody's going to call it a Homer response, and it is. Frankly, I just think that the Chargers got better. I think that the line got better. I think that another year with Herbert and Austin Eckler's still a hell of a running back. We have the corpse. Our Jared Cook at tight end. Got a great offense. The defense got better. I see us. The Chiefs are obviously the big undertaker there. They're the ones that we need to hopefully get past that. And I think we can beat them. I think we can take one from them and go 1-1 and make our way into the playoffs as a wild card. But my smoking gun, what's going to make it? The Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year.
Really?
Now, that might sound terrible, but my full belief in here is strictly on Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick looked like an idiot last year. He basically it looked like he took a year off. He's like, you know what? I got the rings. They're on my fingers. I lost my quarterback. I lost a lot of players. And then his quarterback, which, do they really like each other? Who knows? That's to be seen later on when we do a 30 for 30 with Belichick Brady. But he went on and won a Super Bowl. And he went back and got the tight end that left that head coach. I think Belichick's going to pull out of the stops and pull ace out of the card here or ace out of the hand. And I think he's going to make it to the playoffs. How? I have no idea. Miami got better. Obviously, they're not leading that division. But it's going to be tough. And then on the other side, who's missing it? There's no doubt about it, the Steelers. I think that the Steelers are I think they have a great head coach. I think that Ben Roethlisberger's past his time. He should have retired this past year. He's just going to look slower. The line got worse. They picked up a great running back, and I think Najee Harris is going to be a hell of a running back in the NFL. But he's going to have to shoulder that load, and we know what shouldering loads look like for Alabama players. They just don't last too long. They get hurt. So what are you thinking?
And of course, I'm tempted to be like, Washington's not going to make it. I hate their schedule this year. It's a tough sucks. Schedule. And then the Dallas Cowboys schedule is so easy, and it's just awful. That one hurts me. But I'm going to stay away from Washington. I'm actually going to go with the Saints. I don't think they're going to come out. They won their division last year, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere near that this year. While I like Jameis' ability, and I think it'll be him starting to push the ball downfield, I don't think he cares for the ball enough. They have a good offense, and that defense is suspect. And I'm looking at the Bucs are probably going to win that division. I just don't see them making it. And a team that I think that will make the playoffs this year, I got to say Dallas. And it hurts me, and it sucks. But it's a pretty easy pick because the NFC East never has back-to-back winners. I mean, it's very rare that happens. It just sort of jumps around every year. While Washington, in my opinion, is the best team in the division, just based on that defense and their ability to shut down offenses, Dallas's schedule is just so much easier. Washington has Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Green Bay. It's going to be a rough stretch for them to make it through. And that's Yeah, I'm going to go sit in a corner and cry now as I applaud, as I say that Dallas is going to do well. But, I mean, I think realistically, if they don't win the division and they don't make the playoffs, it's another failed season by far.
Yes,
because
100%.
I don't think they'll have this chance. I don't think Philadelphia is going to be real good. I think New York's going to be one of the worst teams. I think they could end up with a top 3 pick. Because I'm not a big believer in Daniel Jones unless you're in my fantasy league, and then I'll trade you him. But I don't think he's got what it takes, and so I think it's if Dallas can't capitalize and win the division, McCarthy's gone.
Yeah, and he should be. Frankly, what's he done there? Yeah, he's got the crutch, the fact that he lost Dak, and I totally get it. And I love the people that were big Andy Dalton fans that hated Dak. They're like, oh, it's better for that team. No, it wasn't. Dak's still a guy there. He's still a good quarterback. The shoulder injury is interesting. It's I don't know. This is something that's come up before. He hasn't had surgery on it, obviously. He got his big payday. Are they going to keep putting him out there and slow rehab and hope that he can keep playing? And then, he could have a rotator cuff issue and be out for a year and a half. So
yeah,
and I will say this, the Saints, I totally get it. I totally understand. That team is in shambles for me. Like,
this is so bad.
Oh my dude, especially Michael Thomas. Can you believe that? He literally pulled a Shaq and said, I'm not getting surgery until I'm getting paid for it. So he literally waited till camp shows up, says, all right, guys, I'm out. Got to go have surgery. Yeah. What?
Like, I don't blame him.
Here's the thing. I don't blame him. Sure. He's a guy that's already paid. I totally get it. You take care of yourself. But the reality is he had the opportunity to take care of it in the offseason, and he wasn't going to do that when he wasn't getting paid. So I think that speaks volumes to a guy, especially like Sean Payton. Sean Payton's a guy that he's a leader of men, much like a Mike Tomlin, that guys are going to go play for him. Sean Payton has that same kind of resume, in my opinion, and Michael Thomas is just, I don't know, man. It's just interesting to pull that card. But neither here nor there. He's in the NFL. I'm not. So who am I?
It makes you wonder if you're talking about Sean Payton's a leader of men. Is it maybe it was Drew Brees that was holding that all together, and now that he's gone, it's just going to fall all apart? Because as you see, I mean, Belichick's a great coach, but without Brady, he's obviously Brady made that relationship. I think we can say that after the first year. We'll have to see if Belichick can bounce back.
Yeah. And frankly, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, like Tom Brady he's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's one of the greatest NFL players of all time. He's a good-looking guy. He speaks well. He's quirky. He's funny. He made the Patriots more likable. Now that he's gone, it's just Belichick there. They're a team that was good at one point. There's nothing to like about that team now. Like, especially when you get a guy like Cam Newton, for a lot of people, he's a villain in the league. A lot of people don't like him. So it's gonna be interesting to see. All right, let's do some rookie talk here. Who is the biggest improvement? Who is in store for the biggest improvement, the biggest decline from season 1 to season 2? This is tough for me, to be honest. There was a lot of good rookies last year, man. Now, with that being said, who's going to improve the most? I think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. I think that we're looking at a Julio Jones and Roddy White situation, in my opinion. Like, Amari Cooper was the guy. He was there for a bit. He did really, really well. CeeDee Lamb is special. He showed it on the field last year. The videos that I'm seeing on Twitter, like, again, we're not in pads. We're not in contact, so it's really hard to hold water in what anybody does or say. But CeeDee Lamb looks unreal. Like, he looks exciting. We already got people popping off talking about it. LaTroy's Tally's excited for it, and I get it. I'm here for it. I think that he is going to be good.
It hurts so bad.
This is a guy that almost had 1,000 yards, 50 catches, and 6 touchdowns or something like that. He hits the 1,000 mark, in my opinion. I think they're going to start taking the shoulder or the load off of Ezekiel Elliott a little bit. I think that his running down a lot faster than they thought. And I think McCarthy likes to air it out. He's going to air it out a bit. And I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be the beneficial of that. I genuinely think 8 to 10 touchdowns, maybe 1,200 yards. And that's with the corpse that has 3 good wide receivers. But they've already said that they're going to move him around. They're not just going to have him in a slot position or playing a wide position, but he's going to move all over the map. And I think that's going to benefit him a lot. And then who's going to have the biggest decline? That's easy, simple. It's going to be James Robinson. James Robinson had a breakout year, undrafted free agent, came out, almost could have won Rookie of the Year. He was fantastic. But the reality is, he was the benefit of a team that didn't have a running back, and he did well, but they just signed Etienne, and I think Etienne will be the starter. He's a good running back. He's going to be a good NFL running back. So we're going to see a big decline there, in my opinion.
My biggest improvement, I think, will be Henry Ruggs. I'm going to go with an Alabama wide receiver who's got some speed, got some skill. That I am a little worried about that team running the ball, so I think there's going to be a little bit more ability to pass. And he's quick, able to get open. I think he's a really, really good shot at making an improvement this year. Now, my biggest decline, this is going to hurt your feelings a little bit. You knew it was coming, though. I'm sure you did. It's got to be Herbert, right? He was so good last year. And quarterbacks, I'm looking for a little bit of a decline starting week 1 against Washington. I think it'll if he comes out of that game unscathed, I think it's going to be a year where people have a little bit more film on him. They can game plan for him. And I think this year he'll settle down a little bit. Now, I could be wrong because I didn't like him coming out of Oregon. I thought he was a little overhyped. I wasn't a fan, and he showed me up. So I can admit when I'm wrong, but I think he's gonna show some decline this year.
Yeah, regression's pretty standard, especially for a guy that just he wasn't starting. The Tyrod Taylor, if the damn doctor didn't pierce his heart, essentially giving him a cortisone shot or whatever it was, he's not starting. And then he took the ball and he ran with it. And what's the funny thing about Herbert? We're gonna jump on that tangent for a second. Herbert is super interesting. Like Mariota, he's very internal, which in my opinion isn't beneficial as a quarterback. Like, it's hard to get a leader when a guy is just very internal, like a Mariota was. Nobody stood behind Mariota, and Mariota ended up having 1-2 good years, and then he flushed out. But the reality, man, when you go back and look at Herbert's stats going back to Oregon, he did not have a skill player drafted the whole time he started, like not one. And he still averaged, 35 touchdowns, 3,200 yards, and under 10 interceptions every single year. Now, he's not going against the SEC, the ACC, and I totally understand that. There's, Pac-10 and Big 12 out there. There's some good defenses, and he wasn't throwing against the same guys. But I don't know, man. There's a part of me. I actually just posted a thing on Twitter. It was yesterday. I said, and I got a lot of guff for it, rightfully so. I said, Justin Herbert is not better than Joe Burrow, but he has a higher ceiling than Joe Burrow. And I 100% stand behind that. His arm is unreal. Nobody saw this arm. We knew it was good, but he's throwing 70-yard passes off his back foot in training camp right now. He got bigger. He's still 6'6", and he might have some of the best zip in the NFL. I'm really excited for Justin Herbert. Naturally, as a football fan, I know how it works the second year. We saw it with Jameis. We really saw it with RG3. We saw it with Mariota. These guys.
Thanks for sticking me with that one. You're a dick.
Hey, man, I'm just here to say the facts. But
low-hanging
fruit.
fruit.
Second-year quarterbacks, they tend to have some regression, and it could happen. But even if he were to have some regression, he's still a top 12 quarterback. Easy, simple.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'd still be fine. A lot of it's going to depend on that offense, though, right? Is Mike Williams finally going to step up? How's Keenan Allen going to do? How is Jared Cook going to be implemented? That tight end room is a mess. I don't even know why they brought in Jared Cook, honestly. Outside of Kellen Winslow Jr., has there been a tight end that has wasted physical potential like Jared Cook? It's just terrible.
You could argue Vernon Davis because of injuries, but no, Jared Cook was supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be who we were talking about in Kyle Pitts. And he had a crazy year, and then, just kind of, your 600 yards and 4 touchdowns is pretty standard for him now. He's getting long in the tooth. He's old now, so it's really tough to say, he's not a good player anymore. For his age and his size, he's still pretty good. I genuinely think he was the best available for the Chargers, in my opinion. I don't know who else they were. What's his name? The guy that the Giants just got, he went from Minnesota, Kyle
Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph was available at that time, and I just don't know. I think Jared Cook was the better pick there. I think Cook could have He could show up in that room and he's an older guy. He's been with some teams, doesn't have a ring or anything. But I don't know. I think Jared Cook was the right call. I do disagree, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. He's old. The guy could be out after one game. So simple.
Oh man.
All right, buying and selling here. Second down here, game-winning drive. Buy, sell. Washington football team, top 5 defense in the NFL.
Obviously, I'm buying this, right? I think they're top 3. That defensive line is almost unmatched. They're top 2. The linebacking core, I really like the additions of Jamin Davis to go with Bostic and with Cole Holcomb. Get Landon Collins back as a strong safety. Cameron Curl, who had an outstanding rookie year last year, man in the other safety spot. And then we brought in William Jackson to upgrade over Ronald Darby, even though they got similar contracts in the offseason. I like us to stay a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I think Darby's the good call. That's one that a lot of people are going to talk about. I think that upgrading over Darby was a good call. This is what happens when a team drafts. It was 4 years in a row a defensive lineman, and they're with their number 1 overall pick. You got probably the best defense, in my opinion, the best defensive line in the NFL. There's no hand. I mean, the Bucs will give you a run for your money, but or the Steelers, but that's the best defensive line. The secondary is nothing to shoot at. I think, as your dark horse, a lot of people don't talk about it because the edge was so good last year, is Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen was a top 10 easy defensive tackle last year. I think, actually, let me see. I actually looked it up not too long. Yeah, he had a 17.1 success rate in the trenches. The Aaron Donald's like 25%. That's like, all pro every single year for the rest of his life. So 17.1 is pretty damn good. So, he's a guy that's not talked about a lot. People are not running on that team, and you better get rid of the ball quick because you got, especially Chase. He's so exciting, man.
And in the comments, people are making fun of me for saying top 3, but we were number 2 overall defense last year. You think we would have won so many more games had Kyle Allen not started games and had Dwayne Haskins. There you go, right there. Dwayne Haskins not started games. If without those guys, we win at least 4 or 5 more games with Alex Smith. But yeah, no, this defense it's one of the best in the league right now. At top 5 is a no-brainer.
Top 5, no-brainer. I'm gonna say right now they are the second best defense in the league. I think the Bucs have the best defense. They got better. They were good last year. They were amazing last year. And then when Tom figured it out, they were unbeatable. So I just still think they have the best defense. I genuinely think the Washington football team has the second best defense with the best line in the league. So I'm buying with you as well. Jumping on board with that. Hopefully week 1 it doesn't come to fruition because that's gonna hurt my boys. All right, Taysom Hill, will he start week 1 for the Saints? Buy or sell?
I'm buying him starting as a punt returner, a blocker on the punt team, and a tight end. Jameis Winston is winning this, though. I don't see Taysom Hill starting. Of course he's going to get play. I think he'll get more play than he did when he was with Breeze, but I don't see him starting at quarterback.
This is a tough one for me, man. And you know why it's a tough one for me? Because of Jameis. If you see, I saw a comment on one of his it was a big post about, him speaking to the media, and he sounded like a different human being from, going back to Florida State and when he was in Tampa. Dude sounds like Barack Obama talking out there, man. He's got he's got the button up good now. He speaks well. He enunciates super well. I'm like, damn, dude, he's turned around. If I follow the money here, Taysom Hill's still getting paid big money, stupid money, frankly, for what position he plays and what he does for this team. But I think he starts. I think Jameis has the opportunity to take it, and it's completely on Jameis. But I think Taysom Hill starts. I think that with Drew being gone, they implemented this offense preparing for what was going to happen next. And I don't know what it is about Peyton, Sean Payton, but he has a hard-on for Hill, man. I know he's exciting. I know he's good. He's a good football player. But is he a good quarterback? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he didn't have great completion percentage when he actually did start when Breeze was gone. They won those games.
He's a great fantasy quarterback.
Sure. No doubt about it. If he's starting, he better be in your lineup because he's a top 10. He's going to finish top 10 just because the floor on the running is going to give you 50 yards, 5 points all day long.
And vulturing touchdowns from Kamara.
Yeah. Kamara owners are going to be pissed about that. Oh man, that's a tough one for me. I'm buying that he's starting. I think that it's completely up to Jameis if he were to take over and kind of go from there. Let's see what we got here. Saints need to add a number one of Jason. I mean, they have a number one receiver. It's just a matter of obviously he's not going to be starting. Are they really going to go out and mess with their cap to go like Michael Thomas?
They have the worst cap situation in the entire league.
And that's what I mean. They can't go out and get another guy. Like Michael Thomas is still making top 3 money, and he's not going to be playing till he might miss till week 10. Some people say based on this surgery, but that's still to be seen. I still can't believe that move. All right.
Yep. Chad Johnson wants back in.
That's true. 2021, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Is it his last year by yourself?
No. I don't think so. I think he's going to fill up both hands with rings before he retires. That dude will be 50 years old if he hasn't won that 10th one. I think he'll keep playing. I mean, he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Last year, he started a little slow in the new system, but picked it up and they won a championship. I don't see this being his last run.
I'm buying it. It's his last year. I'm calling it right now. I genuinely. What else does this man have to prove? You know, like the Belichick Brady era. It's over. It ended, and he left and won a ring the next year. You're right. Mm-hmm. He did start out slow, and then once he got everything clicking, they were unstoppable. That was the best team in the NFL. It's one of the better teams in the NFL that I've seen in a really long time. Better than most Patriot teams that I've seen from days past. And you know, I think we're going to see a relaxed Tom. He proved himself. He did it. He's coming out this year. He's going to have some fun. He's going to break some records. He's still going to do well. I think the Chiefs are going to take him over this year. I think we're going to see another repeat. It's probably going to be Bucks, Chiefs. Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. But after that, and also barring injury, of course, if he gets hurt for any period of time over 5 weeks, this will be his last year. He turns 44 next year, and the reality is the body just can't. I don't care what kind of avocado ice cream he's eating. The reality is he can't last that long. It's not feasible. He keeps proving us wrong, but plain and simple, I think it's his last year. I think he enjoys it and goes out with a bang. But sayonara, Tom Brady, 2022, I can't wait for it. Put it that way.
So you think I only think he'll go out if he wins the championship again. I don't think he's going to go out on a losing season. I think pride will not let him do it.
If they make it think about what it puts on the body and mentally and the whole dance to get through and go all the way to the Super Bowl and then lose it. You know, so yes, to answer your question, even if he does lose the Super Bowl and to the Chiefs, is he going to go through this whole process again at 44 years old? Like, I don't see it. I think he's smart enough. His mind, his body. There's going to be a point where the doctor's starting to say, hey, you've taken a lot of head hits. You're already well made money-wise. You have nothing else to prove. Go and be a commentator and make another, $25 million a year. Sit next to Tony Romo or something like that. I don't know. I don't see what's he going to keep going for? Just to prove more? Like, dude, you're already the greatest of all time. You proved it. Like, there's literally mission accomplished. What else? There's nothing to do.
Hey, his thumbs don't have rings. I've seen the pictures. All of them got rings except for the thumbs.
All right, here's a solid question. Nicholas Turnowitz says, does Phillip Rivers come back and play? He's obviously referring to the Colts.
Oh, God.
There was a Twitter post, for those that don't know about it, the other day about obviously what happened with Carson Wentz. And a journalist found Phillip Rivers and asked him, hey, would you come back? And he basically said, that door is still open to play in the NFL. So he left it out. Basically, I'm waiting for a phone call. Who knows? I don't think so, man. Like, I think this is his first time having an off season where he didn't have to worry about football. And this guy knows football better than most quarterbacks that have ever played the game. He's a very smart quarterback. He's super cerebral. He didn't have the athletic accolades to be the best quarterback, so he figured it out with the mind and body and did it. He's not coming back. I think that's more just keeping his name in the media. He's happy coaching high school football, and he's got 14 kids, man. His wife's got to be pissed at this point. Be like, bro, I need you at home. You need to get some bottles warmed up or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't see it personally, but what do you think, Brant?
I could definitely see him wanting to. And the only reason I think so is it's his first offseason not prepping for it. Like that desire, like I can still do this. Let me get back out there. I think that drive, he's one of the biggest competitors I think that's ever played the game. I mean, he's just an ultra competitive dude. He likes getting under people's skins with the jollies and
dang it.
Darn you, and then like applauding people when they hit him. He's just a competitor, so I could see him coming back for that. I don't think he should. I don't think he is not at his age what Tom Brady is. Tom Brady's still got some arm strength left. There wasn't a lot of that for Phillip Rivers last year. The ball sailed a little bit. They were a little ducky. And I don't think he should, but I think there is a good 10% chance that he could come back and play.
Totally. I don't get me wrong. I would love to see it. He's one of my favorite. He's my favorite football player of all time. Growing up in San Diego, watching number 17 head out there every Sunday. Those are some moments that I'll never forget in my lifetime when you go back and think of who your favorite guys were. Mm-hmm. But we saw Peyton Manning at the end of his career with that last year with Denver. Thank God he had a good defense because there was no zip on that ball. And frankly, Rivers hasn't had zip for probably the past 5 years. He's just good at hitting guys on the run. So I don't think so. If he were to, I'd love to see it. Can't wait till they do a reality TV show on him. But big fan. Always been a big fan. All right, last one here. Buy or sell Derek Carr's last season as a Raider?
Whoever came up with this question should be fired because the answer is who cares? It's the Raiders. Ain't nobody give a shit about the Raiders.
Yep.
I'll let you answer this one first.
I'm selling it. There's no way, man. Gruden loves Carr. The only situation where Carr would not be a Raider next year is if they have another failed season. And I think they will. I don't think they got better. I think the Kenyon Drake signing was really weird, frankly. Like, he looked worse than he's ever looked, and they still had Josh Jacobs, who he took a beating last year. He had more touches in the NFL than I think anybody at the running back position outside of Derrick Henry. And he got bruised up, man. He's still a young guy. He took his licks, and with those that's a 5-year career if you keep that up. So I understand bringing him in. I just don't know why they paid that kind of money for a guy like Kenyon Drake. He was completely overpaid. But the reality is Gruden loves Carr, man. I was reading some Twitter posts actually not too long ago, and they was talking about how good of a quarterback he is and how underrated he is with his legs. And I guess Gruden forgot about how he got hurt in his legs and kind of played like a bitch the rest of his career since. So, but the reality is he's going to be a Raider. He's going to retire a Raider unless something crazy happens. I don't see it going any other way. And actually, to go back to what I was saying, the only way he's not a Raider is if Gruden, who's making stupid amount of money for a stupid amount of time, needs somebody to fall on the sword, and he chooses Derek Carr to do that, and he basically blames it on the quarterback play and says we need to get rid of this guy and bring somebody else in. Outside of that, he's a Raider for life, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Mariota being the guy. I think he's a good backup. I don't see them really running with him. And I don't think they would let Derek Carr go without having a true successor in place, which that they don't have right now. I think he'd be around at least one more year on a team-friendly deal. But I don't think this will be his last as a Raider.
Yeah. I agree. All right, what else we got here? Fourth down film study.
I didn't study any film. I don't know what was film study. What are we supposed to do? I'm so confused.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, those that have tuned in, we appreciate you. We got a shorter broadcast here since there's only two of us. Unfortunately, we had some call outs, no call, no shows. Drew's gonna get a write up for it. No, I'm teasing. Hopefully everything.
That's a good question.
That's something called last second, and we're here for it. We're here to keep it going. Again, Alex Krogan just is having his baby, so we're hoping that all is well there. Actually, hold on here. Let's see what's here.
That's solid.
We got questions here. What happens first? Herbert a Super Bowl or Dak Prescott a Super Bowl? Interesting.
Or the apocalypse. And the answer is C. The Chargers are the most cursed franchise in history, and Dean Spanos will never win anything because he's a grade A jerk off. And Jerry Jones isn't far behind. So I go with C, apocalypse, for the final answer.
The reality is it's not going to happen. I'm a Charger fan. I've been a Charger fan my whole life. Are they good enough to beat the Chiefs? Yeah. I don't know if they're good enough to win a Super Bowl. Now, those might go hand in hand. They say if you beat the Chiefs, you're going to win the Super Bowl because them and the Bucks are by far the 1 and 2. When you go to the tiers, there's tier 1, you have the Bucks and the Chiefs, and then tier 2 is when the next teams start. They're just the best right now, and they've gotten better, unfortunately, which is crazy in a league that has a cap like we do. Mm-hmm. If I were to put, gun to my head, who am I choosing? There's no doubt about it. I think the Chargers are actually a better team. Yeah. I think I think Dak Prescott has weapons. I think Dak Prescott is made of glass. I think that Ezekiel Elliott is poison in that locker room. He's a me guy, and he wants all the touches, and he got him early on. And then when his quarterback went down, they stacked the box because why not? They had a good line, but they can't throw the ball. Well, we're going to stack the box, and he didn't do anything.
And you still need some semblance of a defense, and Dallas doesn't have that.
No, and the only team to really succeed without any – actually, there's been 2 in like the past 6 years were the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. And they did it. You're right. The offense was so good, and the defense was just is bottom tier, top or low 5 in the league, and they still won. The Cowboys don't have the top 5 offense to counterbalance that, unfortunately. So I don't see either or, frankly, but the reality is that there's no way that Dak Prescott is winning Super Bowl. At least not while I'm alive. I hope not.
No, goodness.
All right. We're going to send her off. Again, thanks for humoring us this evening, just the 2 of us. Krogan, we hope that everything went well with the baby. And yeah, Drew, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Y'all have a good week. It's been fun. Thanks for having us, and feel free to fill up the comment box with questions, and we'll answer them.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching this episode of Game Winning Drive on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at SportsBox Show, Twitter at SportsBox Show, Instagram at The SportsBox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.